I want to pose a question back to you quickly. Um, what are prisons for? What is the purpose of prisons in society?
Oh boy, I'm right there with you. It should be rehabilitation, right? It should be. Um, and I don't know what people think it's for here now. It's like vendetta, it's revenge, it's warehousing. I mean,
Money.
it's just yeah, money. Yeah, like there are yeah, for-profit companies running these things, so what incentive do they have to rehabilitate people and get them out of the system?
They don't, do they? Realistically, the incentive is to bring them back in and keep.
Mhm.
And in prisons, they are also making furniture and they're doing all these things, which are then giving the prisons money, and it's going to society, and they're making money off it. But the people in prison aren't not. I wouldn't say they're not benefiting from it, because I think there is a place for you know getting them into workplaces, getting them using their hands,
Job
using
skills,
yeah,
sure.
job skills, yeah, definitely. But it's everything else that's around it. I think we have people in prison who have been through really traumatic things in their lives. And if I was in that position, or if you were in that position, or whoever was in their position, and we'd been through all their life circumstances, would we necessarily be any different? Would we necessarily be any better off? And I had some stats actually, which I wanted to share, which I thought would be quite interesting. Um, so in the UK in 2021 to 2022, 24.9% of offenders who were released went back to reoffend. Okay, and then in the US, it has the highest rates in the world, some of the highest rate in the world, with 44% of criminals released returning to prison within their first year out. What does that tell you? It doesn't work. It
Yeah,
doesn't
and there's
work.
all kinds of other things besides just the system itself. It's while you're in prison, but there are people who can't afford to pay bail. The bail system is ridiculous, and then they end up lingering in jail just because they can't afford to pay for bail, or they have so many traffic fines, or there's like the level of difficulty to get out. There's just doesn't seem to be any incentive or desire to kind of like help people, you
Yeah,
know?
it's really unfortunate that the systems are built for people to just end up going back inside, right? If we actually had systems that cared about people, if we had systems which I guess treated prisoners with some human decency. I was reading something about Norway's prison system, and Norway, I've never been before, but I've heard it's a lovely country, and their prisons look really luxurious. Like they treat their prisoners, and they don't even want to use the word prisoners. Well, in this discussion we're talking about, but they treat people in prison like they're actual humans. And someone said in Norway, the punishment is to take away someone's liberty. The other rights stay. And in prison, when people go, we take away everything. We take away their rights.
Mm-hmm.
We treat them like animals. We treat them less than human. And we don't give them the skills to be able to go back into society and actually reintegrate. If someone has always struggled with their mental health and they've lived in really poor conditions all their life, and they go to prison and it probably gets worse, their mental health, they probably don't have anything that is helping them with that, or manage that, or struggle that. And some drugs these days are filled with drugs. Prisons these days are filled with drugs. So then they might be using something to cope with their situation. All right, bang, you're released. Well done. You're now free. Oh my gosh, amazing. Where am I going to stay? Where am I going to live? Who am I going to be around? What situations am I going to be when I get back? Probably all the same situation. So,
Mm-hmm.
what are you doing to help people that are coming out of prisons and trying to, rehabilitate their lives? You've kept them in a cell sometimes for 23 hours, and they haven't got daylight, and they haven't been able to shower. that's treating people like animals. How can you expect
Yeah.
someone who you have treated less than human to go out back into the world and treat everybody else humanely? You you're setting people up for failure at that point, personally. So I think prisons. I think we need to have. I think we need to have hard discussions about what the role of prisons is within our society. And I understand it's not a sexy topic, right? People at the end of the day are in prison sometimes because they've committed a crime which has impacted somebody's life. That is serious. Sometimes people are in prison for things which they really shouldn't be in prison for either. But if we are actually wanting to make our society better, if we're actually wanting to help people, if we're actually wanting, our society to be a better society, let's start helping those people who are usually the most vulnerable actually thrive when they come out. And, that might be with better mental health programs in prison, with more staff in prison, with smaller prisons, with trauma-informed prison practitioners, like understanding the circumstances of people that go inside and you actually being able to sit one-to-one with them, or even have small groups where maybe they can do yoga, maybe they can do meditation, maybe they have a basketball team, I guess sort of reflecting society enough within a prison, and reflecting society enough within a prison where when they go out, everything isn't just like, oh my gosh, what is this? I'm back here now. I'm back in the same place. And having support systems outside of prison that actually help people reintegrate back into society. Yeah, those are just my rambling thoughts, I guess, on prison reform.